Shalom everyone, two numerical gems in the Torah. In Parshat Vayishlach is described how Yaakov Avinu returns to Israel, and in order to do that, he's confronted with having to meet with Esav, who his last experience with Esav is Esav wanted to kill him. And so Yaakov sends gifts to Esav to try to make peace, but he's told that Esav is coming with 400 men. So Yaakov has to cover all of his bases. He prays to God, and it's recorded in the Torah, his prayer, and he prepares for war. And there is one of the most famous stories in the whole Torah is Yaakov splits his camp and he crosses over the stream of Yabok, and there he fights with a man. And they fight all night, and this man, who Rashi tells us is the angel of Esav, injures Yaakov, but he can't defeat him. And Yaakov becomes victorious. And through that, and then he asks, he says, I won't let you go unless you bless me. And the angel, the man, blesses Yaakov with a new name, a new identity, Israel, Yisrael. And the Torah even explains what this word means, Yisrael. Ki sarita im Elokim ve'anashim ve'tuchal. Because you fought, you contended with God and man, and you prevailed. That is what Yisrael means. So here we see that first his contender is called a man. But then Rashi says that it's the angel of Esav. But in the explanation of what Yisrael means, it says you contended with God. And almost the most simple understanding on a deep, deep psychological, emotional way of understanding the story is Yaakov is struggling with himself. So here we see he's struggling with himself, his destiny. He knows the next day he's meeting Esav. Is it going to be war? Is it going to be peace? And of course, he has been in the shadow of Esav his whole life, because from Esav he purchased the firstborn, and then he took the blessing, but it's been like a cloud over his head. So he's fighting with his own understanding of his identity, his purpose in this world, his mission. He's fighting with Esav, obviously, because he's meeting him tomorrow. He's fighting with the angel, in other words, the spiritual dimension of Esav. And he's also fighting with God. So our numerical gem is the following. Rashi tells us who is the angel of Esav. So he says Satan, the Satan. Now the Satan is not the Christian idea of Satan. In the Jewish understanding, Satan is actually an angel, and he's not a separate energy fighting against God. He is actually doing God's bidding by tempting human beings so we would have free will. The same idea of why do we have an evil inclination? Because to be in the image of God, the ultimate image of God is having free will in a certain way. There are other ways of understanding it, but one of the strongest is being in the image of God means to have free will. And to have free will, we have to have a counter force, good and evil. That's the secret of the Eitz Hadat Tov V'Ra, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So Satan numerically equals 359, which is significant because the snake in the Garden of Eden that convinced Eve to eat from the tree has a gematria of 358. Satan is just one more, 359. Yaakov, his gematria is 182. So if you add 182 and 359, meaning here's the fight between Satan and Yaakov. And in their fighting, if you put that together, 359 and 182 equals exactly Israel, Yisrael, 541. This is an incredible gematria. Israel equals the result, the completion of this wrestling match produced Yisrael. And again, the Torah tells us the definition of what Yisrael means. Ki sarita im Elokim v'anashim v'tuchal. You fought with God and man and you prevailed. And so this is really the whole history of the Jewish people is, in a certain way, it's a fight of survival. It's a spiritual fight. It's a physical fight, an emotional battle in order for the Jewish people to complete our purpose in the world. And this is part of our mission, is to contend with God and man until we fulfill our mission in this world. And so we look at Jewish history, and it's clear to this very day, especially right now, where we're fighting a war on 7 fronts simultaneously. And this has been Jewish history. And yet, the fight, it's not negative. That's what we learn from this. With the angel of Esav fighting Yaakov, through that wrestling match, Yaakov reaches a new level. Just like Avram was tested 10 times, but each test that he passed, he elevated himself. He reached new levels of consciousness, of faith, of who he was and what he could accomplish. And so this wrestling match is a archetypal model for us, because each and every person on a daily level, we have struggles, we have obstacles, we have confrontations, sometimes with the outer world, most of the time in our inner world. But we can always prevail. Like Yaakov prevailed, we have the strength to prevail. And we should look at it that the tests of this world, the striving of this world, is we can turn challenge into opportunity. We don't have to look at challenges as being negative. We have a challenge. When we succeed, then we accomplish. We create new realities, new opportunities. So I just want to bless everyone that the inevitable challenges of this world, let us all be like Yaakov and take them on, and through the struggle, reach our true potential.